Okay, everyone, we're about to resume and we will be going into our second presentation. As you know, the Film Commission works extensively with the KSAMC when it comes to facilitating both local and international filming in Kingston. And like other parishes, filming in public spaces in Kingston requires productions to provide advanced notice, details about filming schedules, as well as a list of the planned locations to obtain approvals. Here to shed some light on the process and its value is KSAMC's town clerk, Mr. Robert Hill, and he's our main contact for the issuing of permits for film. As Kingston is one of the hotspots for filming in Jamaica, we know he has a wealth of knowledge which will be most useful to you in planning your next production in Kingston. With that said, I welcome Mr. Hill.
Thank you. Good afternoon. Thank you for setting me up so nicely. And I note the resounding applause that I was almost not able to hear myself. But give thanks. Give thanks. I gather that we are also streaming live, and Joan Webley is now leaving the room for some unknown reason. Okay, ma'am. Thank you. But good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Ed Wallace is also here. That's how it is under the law. If you don't know him, that's the voice behind it. And that program has been going for 30 odd years now. And it's a free plug, as much as I can do for under the law. As it relates to, as it relates to, it's good to have levity after lunchtime, because people like me will fall asleep on. But quickly, we have had significant interest in filming in locations across Kingston and St. Andrew, both local and internationally. And we at the KSMC do our best to support these requests and to ensure that one of the major concerns production persons have is that with security and environment and who going to be there and all this thing. Fine. That is why we do in fact require advanced notice, because in many of the locations, based on the pitch and the feature and the your technical terms that you want to use, that you often use, it requires you going into communities that are challenged, communities that are not necessarily open, communities that in themselves experience certain levels of insecurity, and persons become suspicious. I'm only telling you what is real there. And for that, we need to do a lead sensitization particularly with the elected official, with the police if necessary, so that there is a seamless experience, but yet authentic, as the production persons would want it. From our end, we having certainly been conferred with the Creative Cities designation going into 3 years now, all types of creativity, not because we're only under the music genre, but we want to ensure that all forms of creativity are supported, are emboldened, and are granted the requisite licenses and permits. Once you are going to film on the roadway or in the communities across the municipality, you're going to need a permit to do so. Part of what goes into thinking about granting the permit is, one, the length of time, the location. We're not going to charge you to film in the markets, for example, but if you're going to use a roadway and block the roadway for a particular time, you have to catch light and movement and so on, you're going to have to pay an impact fee for that, because there is an inconvenience, generally speaking, to pedestrian and vehicular traffic that we have to take care of. Sometimes, dependent on the length of time of day of the week, if you're going to, for example, block off a roadway, a municipal notice by law is required. By that I mean, it has to be published in one of the daily newspapers, that persons are fully aware, and that they can now properly plan for their alternate routes, etc. It's going to require a policing plan. It's going to require other crowd management controls, dependent on what is required of you or what you want to do. In addition, Public spaces like parks, St. William Grant Park, Emancipation Park, also attract a fee. There is an impact on the grounds there. That means if you're going to use the park, other persons cannot now use it that day. So those are the kinds of things. So we take those measurements into consideration before we grant the permit. What I have concerns with, though, is that through JAMPRO, which has done an excellent job in facilitating particularly the foreign media and film persons that come, I don't want to say I don't like it. I would much prefer advanced notice. I don't want a BBC man come and say them talk to JAMPRO yesterday, so just give it the thing. Really, but it has happened on way too many occasions. And so to be diplomatic and to save ourselves and the country from embarrassment, we relent. But it is not tidy, because all the planning that needs to go in, all the lead communications that need to go in, sometimes doesn't happen. That can therefore cause a larger embarrassment to take place. So if the film crew goes in somewhere where the police don't know, the community doesn't know, there are numerous possibilities of things that can happen. So I am suggesting, and I'm not now saying that our communities are vile and are brutish and nasty. I am saying that persons require, at minimum, the regard and respect to say that we're going to use part of your road in Tredegar Park, in St. Catherine, or part of Trafalgar Road for a day or two. They may even want to engage the community as extras, or they may want, because they're doing a documentary, want authentic information on the ground. But there is a way to do so. And in doing that, we would want to express our support by having we usually like to do things within about a 2-week window, so everything is cleared, and if there are any obstacles that come closer to the eventual day, that we can clear those very, very quickly. I would not support things happening in life, but we would not want to continue to support this sort of 2-day notice, and the people are already on the flight coming and they're going to do it immediately, right? Because if we're going to work in partnership for the betterment of the country and promoting Jamaica in a certain light, we have to ensure that we get it right. We want to also encourage, and I know JAMPRO is doing this, persons who may not have the grand experience of international exposure, but want to get into this. We have a lot of young people in our community, certainly through SDC, etc., that have been identified with potential to do these things. We want to get into the notion of supporting community development through the use of film and other forms of media. Persons believe that they don't have a chance and opportunity because they're not coming out of a CARIMAC or a CPTC or out of Ed Wallace's specific training for finishing, for media and communications and sort of thing. Right? So we want to do that. And we look positively on those things. I know that Coronation Market and St. William Grant Park and those things are very attractive for foreign media because they want this authentic market experience. Whereas we can't now marshal what they will say at the end product. But believe you me, sometimes we are less than happy. You come in with a proposal and what at the end of it is not what you expected to see. We want to ensure that Kingston, as best we can't control that, and we're not going to get into control of it, but we want to ensure that we put on a good face. If someone needs to clean up, we will deal with it. I don't want people coming here and so look at the garbage and so on. Yes, we're living it fine, right? And I admit that, and we're having problems there. But as best as possible, that preparation period, without taking away that authenticity that they require, but that preparation is necessary. Because a lot of times when you watch, I don't know if I'm going to be in trouble if I use one media house. I just say a media house from Britain, right? That continues to perpetuate a sort of notion. And the stereotypical thing that we can't look after ourselves, take care of ourselves and manage ourselves because when we were under colonialism, the place was cleaner and so on. And there are some people that actually still subscribe to that. But that's another argument. The fact of the matter is, we have found on several occasions, and on odd Sunday, I am walking through the market and checking on the cleaning of the market. You just see a film crew turn up. And we are from Ukraine, and so, I say, who sent it here? well, we had a word that we could just come and so on. I said, do you know that you require permission from the film commissioner? They didn't know that we had a film commission. I said, do you have a film commission in your country? Yes. And so on. So this sort of loose arrangement that, you know, I don't want to say that, and I don't want to get into another notion. Right. But we offer a business opportunity. We're not a banana republic running around and we don't know what we offer and facilitate business opportunities for the success and mutual benefit of all. You can't just turn up with a camera and say, I go film Tivoli Garden and this and that and whatever it is, right? And believe that is okay. Likewise, you can't now go to Strawberry Hill and run a documentary, I suppose. The fact of the matter is, ladies and gentlemen, that I would ask Jampro, I don't know what your protocols are in terms of, I don't know all of them, in terms of how you interview, assess, and provide your permissions. But I would want to encourage you that we work together to tighten that area, because cameras are not these big equipment with grip and this and that anymore. See, Mrs. Webley is paparazziing me, right? And I hope it only will go somewhere positive, because I found myself 2 Fridays ago on Ganja Friday and so on. Yes, indeed. Luckily, I didn't have anything imbibing and whether it be burning or otherwise. There have been problems. But the fact is, media gets around within seconds. The impression is created. I had a problem years ago with Paul Campbell. We had a debate about why we keep on running down the same type of genre, but he answered me because I'm not schooled in that area, right? But in putting Kingston on the map and continuing to do so, and you have all the international film festivals at which we are presenting. I think we are presenting one this year, right? Is it that, my question to the experts in the room, is it that we're going to continue to feature only one side of Kingston? Is it that we're going to continue to only look at Kingston as a gangster city, course, whatever it is, which it is a reality and there's no problem dealing with it. We're not hiding from that. But is there another dimension? I am not an artist or a filmmaker. I'm only asking questions. I'm all technocrat. I never said take a rig. A technocrat. Just asking if there is, Madam Film Commissioner, as I am finishing, you are coming into the room. It's one of those things that you say you come to church when church done. Thank you very much, ma'am. And church finished. Right? But I would want to, I can't, from our end, we don't ask the questions as to what content you're looking at. And so you ask for a location, we check the location, if everything is okay for you. Jampro runs through the analysis in terms of what you're looking for, what angle you're looking at, I suppose, Madam Film Commissioner. What is your end product likely to be, what's your objective, your outcome, etc. Strategically speaking, I'm only saying that we have a diverse culture in Kingston and across the municipality. We have problems and issues like any major city across the world which are not easily solved. We have emerging things that we will never be able to measure immediately. And like New York, Paris, London, Soweto, Port of Spain, Port-au-Prince, there are similarities and differences. What I would not want to see is that all of us so-called newly independent nations are grouped into a box that only looks at us as gun-toting, ganja smoking, drug smuggling type of people without any other soul or creativity that makes us who we are, and that identity that creates a holistic Jamaican person. Be it music, arts, culture, literature, science, or city management, as mundane as that is. I would continue to encourage filming across Kingston and St. Andrew in its many forms, and that whatever we can do to continue to partner and support this film commission and Jampro as a whole, you have our unqualified commitment. So with that, I will take one or two questions before I now depart for another meeting. And I want to thank you for listening to me. This crowd has been hard to manage because of its voluminous nature. And I could hardly hear myself, but I will give thanks. Thank you.
Truly. Thank you very, very much, Mr. Hill. I had one quick question. I was wondering about, first of all, a comment. I must applaud KSAC has always been, as you said, very facilitatory. And particularly within the last 2 years, I think your processes and procedures have become even more streamlined. In terms of efficiency of service, online access, and perhaps being able to make applications or notify of filming, and this would perhaps even alleviate that problem you're speaking of short notice. Is that something that's
Yes, we're actually working on a demo site now. We're changing, well, as many of us would know, that the government of Jamaica has certain restrictions in terms of website management and security and so on.
Right.
We have had permission to modify our site in a manner that is more interactive, with a remote help desk and so on. You can call at any time. So we're working through that with the, I don't want to call their names yet, but we're working on that series of students from a tertiary institution which have looked to create this portal that can now provide you with fillable forms that pretty much like when you apply for a visa, you have the barcoded specific number that will now run through our system, which creates that efficiency. We had made that commitment before because once we had noted out of research the amount of places of amusement license that we are granting, that it is easier for not only film persons but promoters, people that are putting on social events. We want to get it out quickly without any hassle, so you can go to get your police permit and your whatever else you require. So we are working on that. We should really demo that fully by the end of March, with hopefully with full access by summer. So because we know it's going to be an upswing in terms of applications at that time. So we're going to be looking at that.
Okay, thank you.
Good afternoon, Mr.
Yes,
Hill.
sir. Good afternoon.
I just have one quick question. In terms of giving the KSAC advance notice when liaising with overseas production companies, what is an ideal timeline for KSAC to facilitate permits?
Our minimum maximum we ask for, and again it depends on some variables. We ask for a 2-week lead time because you can get it within a week and easily relax and do what you're doing, right? But why we ask for that 2-week lead time? Let us use the example. You already cited a location. Location is ideal for you. You have indicated the times at which you want to do your filming. Something in my neck of the woods, and since I've been there, something always happens near to the time that you want to do what you need to do. So we try to get these things out of the way. We try to ensure that all the alternatives are cited, that anything that we may anticipate, we can get out of the way very, very quickly, right? So I would ask for that. We may shorten it based on, again, it's really based on what you want to do, where you're going, how long you're going to be. But for road closures and those things, we need to put a notice in the paper so people can prepare them. Those things we need well in advance, not overnight.
Understood.
For the streaming. Hi, Tiffany. Mm-hmm. good idea. It's a good idea, but I'll tell you this. Because we have eyes and ears all over the place in Kingston, we know where they're going to go in. We already know where they're going to go. Which is true, because there are the creative ways of getting things done. But yeah, I take the idea. We have some, I know we'd have some legal restrictions in dealing with that. And I can get legal advice on that before we attempt to implement something like that. But it's a good idea. And with that, I believe I'm going to take my exit. I want to thank you once again for listening to me after lunch and not falling asleep. That was amazing of you. And I want to wish you a good afternoon for the rest of the time that you have to go through here. This is some significant topics that you have to cover. And we always stand ready to render any assistance only at short notice to JAMPRO, but nobody else. All right? Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Great.
Thank you very much, Mr. Hill. I'm sure we all appreciate that brief but very straightforward presentation. Our next panel, thank you. Our next panel concerns filming on location. But I am yet to see our panelists. Tristan. No, it's okay. 1 minute, everybody. Tristan. Sorry, special permits, but I'm looking for this. Okay. We can. All right. So earlier we had a presentation. In the interim, we had a presentation on the guide to filming in Jamaica. I think we should use this as an opportunity to ask Joan any questions regarding that publication until our panelists come, or if there are any general questions. Anyone? No questions? No concerns? No queries? Okay. You have.
Sorry, so this question had been in relation to the guidebook. I did share earlier that the guidebook will be printed, so there will be a hard copy format as well as an ebook is contemplated. That's the purpose of JAMPRO. However, a comment that I received earlier, I think it was from Dr. And he's here, he's not gone. It's actually from Dr. Nurse, so he can actually flesh it out a bit better perhaps, or expand. But I think it was worth us exploring, if we have the time, is the capacity for a user-generated film industry directory. If there was something like that that was contemplated as part of the bigger framework or plans.
Thanks, Joan. In the context of the guide to filming, we didn't have a user-generated section because there is a need to have information that is vetted. So especially because it is a national publication and we are expected to have accuracy in there. So we wouldn't have had direct user-generated content because we wouldn't have any control over the accuracy of that. But I think there are other ways that we can create platforms. So for example, I had mentioned earlier as well that there's a platform that I think is currently under development that would relate to talent. So it's essentially like a
agency.
Yeah, exactly. It's an agency. So you can scroll through, you can see their casting portfolios, you can see what they've worked on and stuff like that. And that would be the type of platform that you can update your own profile or you update your own page.
And so talent wouldn't just be actor or actress, it would be documentary maker, writer, screen.
Yeah. By talent is on screen and behind the camera. Right. So it's a very broad definition of talent. And then the other part of it too, and Joan, this is going to relate to some of the some of the way of collecting personal information is that, I mean, and we can talk further about this, but I had in mind something just like a simple online form. So it could be a Google Doc, it could be something like that, and this would be something that would be circulated to the industry so that you can update your own content, your own profile information, which would then now go to the team that is pulling the information to create the document. So there's options for it. I mean, the good thing is that we are now in that stage where the next stage of information collecting is about to begin. So we can tailor the methodology based on what the industry thinks is necessary. Any other questions?
Not so much a question, just to respond to what you suggested. I don't know which agency is doing the collation of the talent that you referred to. But always the difficulty is keeping the thing up to date. I mean, I've experienced this process so many times. And so what you want to do is create a framework that allows for people's links to be clearly identified. Because what happens is that they do their updating of their information, and so all you're providing really is the links.
Yeah.
And that tends to have a longer shelf life than some of the
And that's the
personal
goal.
data. Yeah.
And I mean, the thing is that we want to make sure that people who are working in the industry actually have updated LinkedIn pages and that their websites are up to date. And, you know, if they're using Instagram or Facebook or any other kind of social platform, then that is what we'll be collecting from them. And that's also used as a vetting mechanism. I mean, if you say you are so-and-so and you have this type of business and you're conducting this business, then that should be alive online. People should be able to find you, and people should be able to verify that. So us as industry practitioners making sure that our social profiles and our digital footprint is alive and well is one of the parts of making this work.
Yeah, and some of the more established people would be on IMDb and
exactly.
so on. And so you want to have that highlighted because often the international people who are sourcing will go to that location first. So you want to at least aggregate that content.
Yeah, exactly. I do due diligence on IMDb Pro, and you find that a lot of our Jamaican talent, both on screen and behind screen, are not using it. They're not updating their profiles. They're not updating the work that they've done. They're not realizing that people are trying to find you. That is where they're looking for you if you're working in screen. Any other questions? No? Well, I think our next panelists are running a little late. Oh, look at that. We're so efficient.
So we expect them to be here by 2:00.
We're scheduled for a break.
So why don't we take a break? We just got back from one, but clearly we're just way too efficient for our own good, and we're actually early instead of being